There's a monument on the trail here. Moy Rest, the Appalachian Trail, Sam's Gap, North Carolina. As this natural bowl of springs, creeks, meadow, and forest passes from our family to the U.S. Forest Service, Jim, Sarah, Mike, and Jim Moy Jr. of Atlanta, Georgia, recognize this part of the Appalachian Trail as a manifestation of the glory of Christ Jesus our Lord. As God nurtured our strong love for Jesus, we had personal encounters with him regarding this unique property. It is our prayer that the Moy tract on the trail will be a place of inner peace and gentle rest. Expression from the Moy family, April 16, 1998, erected by the Moy Foundation. themoyfoundation.org. Very nice. Let's continue on, Riley. So we just got to Sam's Gap and crossed underneath that highway there and re-entering the woods here, up there. And there's a sign that conveniently labels this as a walking trail. I don't mean to poke fun, although I am poking fun. It is the Appalachian Trail, and yes, it is also a walking trail. So by the way, I didn't mention today is Tuesday, May 28th, and it is day 26 of Riley and my hike on the Appalachian Trail. We had a good night last night. It did not rain after we got our tent set up. And this morning, I was hoping to get an early start, as I do every day. But we did not get a super early start. I don't know exactly what time it was when we left. I didn't look at the time. But when we were just about ready to leave, I had packed everything up. I saw two hikers pass by the entrance to our campsite. It was a guy and a girl. And Riley and I started, then they passed by, and Riley and I started our hike shortly thereafter. And Riley remembered them, so he was in a hurry to catch up. And we actually caught up to them pretty quickly. And we discovered that they were Michael and Simone, who I don't think I've previously mentioned in any of the videos, but we had met them back in Georgia, like right around the 100-mile mark, or maybe a little bit before. Yeah, definitely before the 100-mile mark. But then I think they actually stopped in the town of Franklin, and Riley and I did not. And we haven't seen them since then, until today. So we hiked with them for a bit, basically in the morning, right as we were starting our hike. And that actually helped us to go faster than we normally do. So that was good in terms of enabling us to cover some ground. But it was also tiring for me. I'm used to going slower in the mornings. But today's been a good day so far. It's been cool, mostly cool, and it's starting to warm up. And our friends Michael and Simone took a break at the last shelter, which was Hogback Ridge Shelter. And so I think they're a little bit behind us now. But I think their plan is to try to get to Irwin by the end of the day tomorrow, which is the same as the plan shared by Riley and I. So we should see them again, at least in Irwin, if not sooner. All right, so Riley and I are going to continue on, enjoy the day, and we will check back in later. Riley. 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 Hey. All right. So Riley and I are taking a mid-hike break. We're going up a mountain now. That's what's in front of us. That's what's behind us. The camera really doesn't do the trail justice, I guess, in terms of how hard it is to hike it. When I'm watching videos on YouTube and seeing people hike these kinds of sections, I'm just sitting on my couch and I'm not tired, and it doesn't look that steep and it doesn't seem that difficult. But when I'm actually doing it, it just wears on me, and I need to take these kinds of breaks. Riley has tons of energy, and he's motivated by people that are around him, and he's finally sitting down after we've probably been standing here like 10 minutes, and he's finally like, okay, we're not moving. Oh, but he got up. I don't see anybody down there, but he must see something down there. So we're gonna finish our break and we'll continue on in a bit, and we'll check back in later. Riley, good boy. All right, so apparently we only had a little bit ways more to go up that hill from that last shot. We exited the woods that way, and now we're out onto something called a meadow, according to my guidebook. There's a nice bench here, beautiful bench. Riley. Oh, Riley. Oh, Riley. Oh, wow. Looks like there's some structures built on the opposite side of the mountain there. Very nice. And I think that might be Michael and Simone down there. Could very well be. No, there's 3 people. It must be other people down there. Riley, you're getting us all tangled up here. All tangled up. All right. All right, so now that we've made it to the meadow, according to my guidebook, we have, I believe, 5.9 miles to get to the next shelter. And I'm gonna turn the camera off because Riley is pulling. I'm not frustrated. He's just pulling a lot. So I'm gonna turn the camera off and we will check back in later. All right, so I got Riley behind me now. And if you can see, hold up, Riley. If you can see through those, the break in the trees there, on the far side, there's a mountain, and on the low portion of the mountain, the trees look bright green, and on the top portion of the mountain, the trees look kind of a much darker, like a dark green. And I'm not sure if that's because that there's just like a cloud over top of the trees, which is creating a shadow and making them darker, or if the actual color of the tree leaves is just darker naturally. I was trying to figure that out, and I don't know. Initially, I thought that a cloud was over it, and it was just creating this huge shadow, which made everything darker. But it could just be a different kind of tree. So, I have no way of knowing. Something to ponder while I'm walking. All right, we'll check in later. Riley, 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 hey. All right, so we are now on top of what's called Big Bald. There's a survey marker here. Big Bald elevation, 5,516 feet. This is very similar to Max Patch before Hot Springs. And the climb to get up here was really annoying. It was really annoying. At Max Patch, it was like they built it for like anybody to do. They had extra wide trails and switchbacks, and it was not hard. But this climb, it just kept going and going and going. Going and going and going, Riley. And it was very rocky and very hard. And there were 3 hikers that passed us while Riley and I were taking a break. And then as we got going, Riley was just whining and whining and whining and whining and wanting to catch up with them. And I just got annoyed. I'm sorry, Riley. Riley, how you doing, man? Good boy, Riley. You're awesome. So, this is Big Bald. On the other side of the shelter, which is, I think, like less than 1.5 miles from here, it's actually called, I think it's called Big Bald Shelter or Bald Mountain Shelter. On the other side of the shelter, there's something called Little Bald. So Riley is whining here because he still knows that there's 3 hikers ahead of us and we gotta hurry on. So, all right, we will continue on. I'm sorry, Riley. We're gonna go. We're gonna go. It's okay, Riley. Beautiful day out here. Beautiful day. If only I didn't have to get tired while we were walking. It would be so much easier. Riley, hold up, please hold up, Riley. Hold up, Riley. No running. No running. Okay. There's some hikers off in the distance. It's probably not very easy to see them on camera, but Riley sees them and he wants to catch up. Okay, Riley. Okay, Riley. All right, we'll check in later. Hello, Riley. Okay. Okay. It's okay, Riley. It's okay, Riley. Riley, it's okay, buddy. It's okay. Riley. Hey, it's okay, buddy. It's okay. It's okay, Riley. Okay, so we've made it to the entrance to the shelter. That sign right there is the entrance, or the sign indicating that there's a shelter. There's also some posts on that tree there indicating that there's a shelter. And the 3 hikers that were in front of us, we caught up to them because they slowed down. And then we all kind of walked in this last stretch as a group with me in front. And Riley and I are going to continue on. The other 3 hikers walked into the shelter, and Riley doesn't like it. You're not a fan, Riley, are you? You would like to go into the shelter to see all the other hikers, right? I think that's what you're saying, yes. Okay, but we're going to continue on. We still have plenty of daylight, and I believe as of now we are 16.4 miles from Irwin. So, do you know what 16.4 miles means, Riley? What that means is that we need to do a little more tonight so that we can get there by the time the dinner shuttle leaves tomorrow. Okay. So, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're just going to calm ourselves down. It's a very, very nice evening, and we will check in later. Evening is settling in here on the Appalachian Trail on day 26, Tuesday, May 28th. I really love the evening. I'm not a fan of the mornings. The mornings are tough because you got to pack up your tent, or if you stayed in a shelter, if we stayed in a shelter, then probably didn't get as good a night's sleep as I would have gotten in the tent, and you still got to pack up everything. So that can be annoying. I mean, it's all part of the hiking experience, but I mean, on top of that, you have to go from all the comfort of your tent, and you got to start hiking. And that's not something that I look forward to in the mornings. But once I get going, everything seems to be fine, usually. And then I really like the evenings because, I mean, as long as it's like fair weather, which it is tonight, especially if you've kind of like already met, or if we've already met our hiking goal for the day, and you're still able to hike for a little bit more during the daylight and tack on some bonus miles, that's a really good feeling for me. Plus, like, you're getting close to finding a campsite. And that's exciting because that means you get to stop for the day and relax and enjoy a good meal. So many good things to look forward to. So yes, the daylight is going down, but we still have daylight to work with. And all that work we did to get up to Bald Mountain, Big Bald. And then we passed the shelter and we got up to Little Bald. Little Bald was not as decorated as Big Bald, so I didn't take any shots of it. In particular, it wasn't actually a bald, it was tree covered. And when we got up to the summit, there was like a little side trail, I think, that led to like the outlook. And I was a little confused, like I wasn't sure if the Little Bald summit was going to be actually on the AT or not. And I didn't take that short side trail, and I think the Little Bald summit was on that short side trail, so I didn't actually see what was out there. So that's why I didn't take any shots of it. But yeah, so all that work that we did to ascend Big Bald earlier in the day, well, we're descending now. So the hiking's a lot easier, and I'm not frustrated like I was earlier when I was getting so tired going up all those mountains. And actually, once we got up to Big Bald, we were a little over 17 miles from Irwin, and the general trajectory to get to Irwin is downhill from there. There are some uphills, like there was an uphill to get up to Little Bald, and there's a few more uphills that we have to do, but they're not extremely long. And the general trajectory is just mostly downhill. Yeah, the trajectory is downhill with a few minor uphills scattered in between. So that's something to look forward to. And we're definitely doing a big downhill right now. It's all separated into switchbacks, so we're just going back and forth down the side of the mountain. Riley's doing awesome. He's not, earlier when he was like really excited to catch up to the other hikers, I was trying to keep him behind me so that he wouldn't be pulling me too much, and he wouldn't be wasting his energy, and I wouldn't be wasting my energy. But he was still so excited that he was like just walking right up against my legs and just kind of bumping into my legs like repeatedly. And sometimes I walk like on the right side of the trail, and I hold my trekking poles like down to the left so that I kind of create a barrier on the trail so that I can more easily keep Riley behind me. But when he's excited, like he was earlier, he was still bumping up against my legs, looking for any opportunity to get past me. And that was one of the things that was getting frustrating to me. But he's walking much better now. There's nobody ahead to entice him to go super fast, but he's still keeping up with my pace, which is very nice. This is a very pleasant style of hiking, so I should be very thankful for it when we're able to get it. And we are going to hike for a little bit longer, and we will eventually find a campsite. Might have to get my headlamp out if it gets starts getting darker. I mean, obviously it will start getting darker, but if it gets dark enough such that I'm having trouble seeing with the natural light, then I'll get my headlamp out and we'll find a campsite. So the day is winding down very nicely, and we will check back in later. It's a cool rock here that we just passed, or we're in the process of passing. Trail goes that way. Got the AT symbol emblazoned on it, and as we're approaching it, it's like two rocks, like on an angle with a little gap between, so kind of cool. Alright, so just wanted to close out the day. Riley and I have found a campsite, and we are in our tent now. We were able to do 3.5 miles beyond the Bald Mountain Shelter, and by the time we found the tent site, or found the campsite, we had pretty much exhausted all of our daylight, so it made sense to take the campsite. We're down actually at a place called Whistling Gap, where there's a pretty large campsite. There's space for multiple tents down here, and there's nobody else here, so we're as far as I can see, we're the only tent that's set up. And they had very, very, very nice tent sites, lots of just very nice level ground for us to set the tent up, so feels good to be here. Wasn't a struggle at all to put the tent up. And overall, we hiked 16.5 miles today. We are at mile, according to Far Out, we are at mile 331.1. And to get to Irwin tomorrow, we have 13.3 miles to go. And our goal is to get to Irwin by 5 p.m. tomorrow. So we have our work cut out for us. The only way we're going to do it is if we get up early tomorrow. So I'm going to do our best to accomplish that. And if we get up early and get on the trail like before 8 a.m., I think we have a good chance of making it. So we will close out the day, and we're going to get to sleep, and we will check in tomorrow. Hope everyone's doing well, and bye for now.